This next chapter is dealing with the organizational principles that we discussed earlier, the 6 organizational principles, which we can entitle the control factors. Right? And the reason why we call it the control is because when you put together your organizational plan, the plan comes from before, you have a blueprint for what it is you're going to attempt. And there are 6, as I said, there are 6 factors. Let's go through them one by one. The first is the model. Now, the model relates to how you see this undertaking. What is, for instance, let me give you a couple of them. People may have their own model of how they should look. Okay, let's talk about that. Some people want a very sophisticated look. Some people want a very casual look. Some people want a very sporty look. Some people don't care how they look. Some people are very fastidious about how they look. Right? So you're going to decide, like for instance, Saturday night you're going to a dance with your husband or your wife, and you want to get all dressed up. You're going to a special affair. Right? You have a model of how you're going to look. Just like when you go into the office, you have a model of how you're going to behave. You have a model of your business plan, your financial plan. We have ideas. We have things that we put in our minds as to how we're going to do that. Now, there are a number of ways of doing this, and a model is a very powerful controlling force, because if I don't know how to do something, or I think I'm doing it wrong and I want to do it better, one of the best ways that I've found in doing it is looking around as to how other successful people or situations are developing. How did this guy do it? How did she do it? How does that fellow make that kind of money? How does she dress at that particular time? Okay? So modeling is, and I used modeling in my back in the 70s to create a very specific part of my business. I took a very successful process with, for instance, property tax consulting, and I adapted it to myself. I kind of made a notation as to how to change the model, part of my plan, to fit me. Modeling. The next is process. What's the process? Well, you know, process is patterns, how things work, the steps to take. And knowing what a model is different than what steps are involved. You know, you have a model of making money. Okay, this is going to be my business, and this is going to be my business plan. Well, inside the business plan better be steps as to how you're going to achieve that. I mean, you just say, well, I'm going to do this. You know, I'm going to make widgets, and I'm going to make a lot of money. Well, that's great. That's great. How are you going to do it? Well, I'm just going to go out and do it. No, you're not going to leave it up to the universe. No, you're asking for trouble. Because you're going to get back garbage. Garbage in, garbage out. So you want to know what the steps are, right? And that's very important. And again, we can use the same modeling, or you can see how other people are doing their process, or you do it by experimentation, experiential, right? Which is a very valid and very important manner. Okay, so the next one is assessment, measurement. You're going to take control by measuring or prioritizing things. This is important. Right? For instance, I'll give you an example. I worked with a woman, a professional, recently, who was saying, you know, it just seems like at the end of the day, I'm not finished. I've I've got more to do, and I'm working very hard. So I said, okay, let me sit in with you for an hour or so and watch you. Just go about your work. And within 15 minutes, I found her problem. What she was doing is she was talking to customers or clients. She would make the sale, in effect, or her point, within 5 minutes. And then she'd stay on the phone for another 5, 10, 15 minutes talking about, how she's going to do this and how that works and what's going on behind the scenes and everything else. And I saw her do this twice in like 15, 20 minutes. And I said to her, well, let me ask you, why are you continuing the conversation? Well, I enjoy talking to her. I said, you enjoy? Where's your priorities? Where are your priorities? Isn't a priority that at the end of the day you want to have more done? So if you're going to enjoy it and that's going to be your priority, then don't be surprised at the end of the day you're not accomplishing it. But if your priority is that by the end of the day you want to have more done, then that's what you have to concentrate on. That's what you have to focus on. Okay? She got it, and it really helped her. Okay, so the next thing is details. And details are, of course, as they say, the devil is in the details, and that's quite true. I personally am not a detail person. My wife is a detail person. I am what they call a whole picture type of person. My wife is not. So in our relationship, I have to pay attention to what she provides me with insofar as detailed insight, and I have to show her that her details have to be more about the whole picture. So me paying attention to her version of details helps me with my development or my potential. Me telling her what the whole picture is doesn't mean anything because she doesn't listen anyway. But that's beside the point. But you can see the difference between the two. You can see the importance between the two. And the next one is the whole picture. Synthesis. And that's very important. Intelligence. Intelligence is defined as the ability to recognize data as much as possible, details, and to then place it into a whole picture that's comprehensive. Right? That's intelligence. So having the details and trying to grasp the entire picture, having a grasp of the entire picture, is critical. All right, so what else do we need for controlling? Well, the one that's remaining is very important, and I want you to pay attention to this. It's called mirroring or feedback. And the principle of mirroring is this. If there's something that's really bothering you, it's like upsetting you, okay? Chances are great that that's something that you need to work on. That other person that's making you upset, or that other event that's making you upset, is something that's wrong within you. It's just being reflected back to you. And I have used this, and people reject this outright because it throws the responsibility onto them. And that's where it belongs. Right? You are the one that is causing this discomfort inside of you. It's like a message, like the universe, the energy is saying to you, hey, pay attention. You got to work on this. Okay? So all of this relates to the controlling. I hope that helps. We're going to move on now to the action series.